Here we are, day 872,963 of the lockdown. By the way, it is a lockdown. I'm so sick of people calling it a quarantine, because a quarantine is basically isolating very well-known sick and affected people from the healthy general population, not isolating the healthy general population away from itself. This is a government-imposed lockdown. But here we are, right now we are being held hostage for a one-size-fits-all vaccine. If you don't believe me, look at what the left-wing and even mainstream right-wing media isn't questioning in this. Look what the mainstream media, both left-wing and right-wing, are trying to push. They're saying we're not going to get back to normal. We're not going to be out of this lockdown until there is a vaccine. And no doubt in a lot of more dictatorial countries, a lot of more totalitarian countries, this vaccine will probably be mandatory, if not compulsory. In America, I could see maybe if this vaccine appears from nowhere, which it probably will, I could see a good 30 to 60 million people passively resisting it. By passively, I mean they're not going to go out of their way to get it, but if they're forced to get it or coerced into getting it, like say they can't go to work and feed their families unless they get it, I could see probably half of those people at least cracking and sucking it up and getting it, which is dangerous. I could see, but there is definitely going to be, at the very least, 5% of the American population, roughly about 18-20 million people, and I'm damn well one of them, that will refuse to get it unless you kill me or forcibly drag me somewhere and give it to me, in which case I'm not going to go lightly. If you don't believe me, I'll put a link in the description. There's a blog Bill Gates has called Gates Notes, and he goes on and on about the development of this vaccine. But just read the first 3 paragraphs. In the first 3 paragraphs, Bill Gates automatically rules out any possible treatment or cure for this virus. That is scary. That is dangerous. Because if you're saying that usually treatments and cures are way easier to come by than vaccines. In fact, that's why vaccines were originated, because they couldn't find a cure for this or a relative treatment for that, and these kids were getting very sick from polio, but they found a way to immunize the body. Well, in order to find a vaccine for this and that, most of the time people go and find treatments for a disease or first. They find, okay, we treat this with that. We find a cure. This might cure most of the symptoms or most of the deadlier symptoms for this disease, or this might cure that. And then if they can't find it, good enough for relative treatments, they go to a vaccine. The fact that Bill Gates is already is already rolling out a cure or a treatment is very alarming, because that means that we are being held hostage for a vaccine. We are being held hostage for a vaccine. He says, just read the first 3 paragraphs. He says, when are things going to get back to normal? Well, either when we have a treatment or a vaccine. He says a treatment is unlikely, which I find bullshit. The treatment, well, there are many treatments, which he does acknowledge. There are many treatments that are happening, but none are 95% effective. First off, how is this effective rate measured? Is it one of each effective? Is it each of these known treatments only is effective for 95% of the people, or each of these treatments are only effective to so many people? Okay. Well, if each of these treatments are only effective, like say hydroxychloroquine cocktail, it's not I think the studies that are done to smear this drug, and that's another thing that's dangerous. They're smearing and downplaying all the other treatments, like the hydroxychloroquine cocktail and intravenous vitamin C, namely. I think all the studies that downplay it are made it or set up to make it look like it failed, which means they're not given the three ingredients of this cocktail. There's erythromycin, hydroxychloroquine, and zinc. You have to have all three, or else it's not the cocktail. Some people are just given hydroxychloroquine and be like, "Oh, it's not working. See, it doesn't work. We need a vaccine." Or they might even throw in an erythromycin and see, "Oh, it's not working." Well, of course it doesn't work. You didn't put the fucking zinc in it. All right, so these studies that are vilifying this are purposely set up to vilify this because they want a one-size-fits-all vaccine. On top of that, you had a doctor in Detroit named Charles Mock, Dr. Charles Mock, who ran a facility who said, "Fuck you" to that tyrannical cunt Gretchen Whitmer, and kept this facility open. He was giving away free vitamin C shots to healthcare workers, free, mind you. He wasn't, ripping people off or anything. He was giving away free vitamin C shots, and the fucking feds raided him. Well, if the scum, first off, fuck the feds, to quote the Joe Exotic's campaign manager in the Tiger King series. Fuck the feds. All right, anytime the feds raid someone, to me, that legitimizes them. Like Bob Lazar on that Joe Rogan podcast, to promote a documentary about him. The feds raided that guy, for dubious reasons. So if the feds raided him, more than likely he did work on alien aircraft. All right, I would say that guy's just crazy. He's just trying to make money. But if the feds raided him, to me that legitimizes him. Why else would they send government agents to raid you if they knew you were making up a bullshit story? If they knew it was bullshit, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't even waste time or money on you. But if it's real, they'll send something after you. Well, this doctor in Detroit was treating people with vitamin C, intravenous. And the thing about vitamin C is it's abundant. So big pharmaceutical companies can't make money off it. Can't make money off the patents. They can't, and if this virus is easily treatable with vitamin C, first off, it'll only be administered to the people that actually have the most bad symptoms of the virus. The asymptomatic people probably won't even go to the hospital, and rightfully so, because there's no reason to. So they may only be treating the worst cases of it with it, as opposed to vaccinating everybody, which is what they really want to do. So this guy, doctor, and the feds raided him. They were saying, and right off the bat, the media, which is about as trustworthy as a crackhead snake oil salesman on commission, is saying it's a dubious treatment. It's unproven. The FDA hasn't approved it yet. Who gives a fuck if the FDA approves? Just because the FDA doesn't approve something doesn't mean it doesn't work. All right, we are not all enslaved to the Food and Drug Administration is corrupt anyway. The people that work there are not only in bed with big pharmaceutical companies, they are big pharmaceutical companies. They basically fast-track some of the most dangerous drugs to keep people sick so they can justify giving them more drugs and make more money, while they purposely suppress the cheap and easy drugs, the cheap and easy remedies, because they can't make money off it. A lot of the pharmaceutical executives go and work for the FDA, and they still maintain their ties with their pharmaceutical companies, so they can approve this. If you know the right people at the FDA, which a lot of these big pharmaceutical companies do control, they can get your drug fast-tracked and your competitor's drug stonewalled. The FDA is that corrupt. It's a revolving door between big pharmaceutical companies and the FDA. So it's something being FDA approved, if you ask me, makes it more dangerous, not more safe. But that's just me. So you have people, well, it's not a proven treatment. Who gives a fuck? All right, if doctors are... Okay, first off, if doctors are using it, intravenous vitamin C with great results, and there's no bad side effects, guess what? That's proof. That's evidence. You don't need some federal bureaucracy to go through miles of their routine red tape in order to justify its pathetic existence to show that something is proven. If doctors are using it on the front lines, if frontline doctors are using vitamin C or hydroxychloroquine cocktail to treat something and it's working, that's the fucking proof, not the FDA's seal of approval. Fuck the FDA. It doesn't mean shit. Sorry, the FDA is not the be-all, end-all of what's approved and what's not approved. All right. For example, sunlight has been known to cure depression, because when you're depressed and have anxiety, it's a sign of lack of vitamin D. Well, if you go out in the sun, you get vitamin D, but the sun isn't FDA approved. Oh no, you can't go out in the sun. You might, take a drug that's not FDA approved. Heaven forbid. No, fuck the FDA. So the media that said that this doctor was given unproven treatments. It doesn't matter if these treatments were not approved by the FDA. The question is, are they working? And they're saying that but the point is, if this doctor is treating something with this virus with something easy as vitamin C, then that means there's no need for a vaccination. Oh no! So we have to send the feds in and shut him down and use the media to smear him. And if they're saying, oh well, so he's using dubious and unproven treatments. No, I'd say all the people that recovered from coronavirus symptoms through vitamin C are all the proof you need. All right, if I hear one more libtarded dipshit where it's science, the left has managed to dumb down science the same way people in idiocracy dumb down its electrolytes. Or it's got electrolytes. A little backstory, if you've ever seen the movie Idiocracy, it's basically about the 500 years in the future where all the idiots outbreed all the smart people and the world is full of idiots. And these people are so idiotic, they were literally watering crops with a Gatorade-type product called Brawno. And they're saying, we gotta water the plants with Brawno because it's got electrolytes. And all the idiots would repeat, mindlessly regurgitate, but Brawno's got electrolytes. But Brawno's got electrolytes. We need to, and it was killing the crops and causing food shortages. So they were every time someone says, hey, maybe we should water the plants with water, and they're like, but Gatorade's got electrolytes. The same way the mindless idiot left mindlessly regurgitates, it's science. This needs to be approved by the FDA. These are good scientists. It's science. They're dumbing it down. They're dumbing it down to idiocracy levels of it's got electrolytes. Because these idiots cannot say it's science, couldn't recite the scientific method any more than idiots in idiocracy knew what electrolytes actually are. But the fact is that if the feds are rating a doctor for using something like simple like vitamin C and it's working to treat this coronavirus, if the media is downplaying this doctor all vitamin C treatment, if they're mischaracterizing what President Trump says about disinfecting the insides of people's bodies with ultraviolet light, and they twist it, make it sound like he said injected bleach, which he never did. Play the fucking tape if you don't believe me. Then you know that they're mandating that we must have this vaccine, that we must take this vaccine because this vaccine's one size fits all. The fact that Bill Gates says, oh, well, we need a treatment that's 95% effective. Do we really? I don't think we do, and here's why. So say you take the hydroxychloroquine cocktail, which does in fact have some side effects, especially to people with heart conditions that could cause heart arrhythmias, to some people maybe on the edge of having a heart condition. All right, so 90% of people, it says that maybe 10 to 15% of people can't take it because of it. All right, so it's 85-90% effective. All right, so why not just treat the 85 to 90% of the people with that cocktail, let the 10 to 15% of people try intravenous vitamin C, and if for some reason they can't do that, try the ultraviolet light. Again, between all these treatments, we do have 100% of effective rate. Between all these treatments, we do. But why do we need one treatment for everything that has at least a 95% effective rate? That's bullshit. Between all these treatments, we have over 100% effective rate. Because, again, if someone can't take hydroxychloroquine cocktail, that's not just hydroxychloroquine, that's hydroxychloroquine mixed with erythromycin and zinc. You have to have all three. Any study that doesn't show that all three were taken or is outright dubious. It's not a real scientific study. It's pseudoscience. It's made with these studies are conducted to get a specific end result to smear this in order to justify this lockdown further in a mandatory vaccine. Again, do not trust any study about hydroxychloroquine unless the study administered all three: zinc, erythromycin, and hydroxychloroquine. Not one of the three, not two of the three, but all three. All three have to work. And even then, there's about 10 to 15% of the people that have side effects like heart arrhythmias. So, okay, well then, if you can't give that drug to them, then maybe try treating them with vitamin C. And if for some reason, or you can't do that, then try using ultraviolet light. And there's other treatments that doctors all over the world are finding they're very effective. And combined, collectively, they all have over 100% effective rate. But Bill Gates says we need one drug with over 95% effective rate. Bullshit. Why does there need to be one drug? Why does there need to be a one-size-fits-all approach? The answer is simple. There doesn't. But he goes on to say that we need to, this is the scary part, vaccinate mostly everybody in the world. This sounds like a plot to a very bad James Bond movie. I mean, Bill Gates is already Bond villain rich, and he's acting like a fucking James Bond villain, wanting a direct wanting to vaccinate everyone on the planet. He is essentially saying he wants a pathway into everyone's body on the planet, which means he could put if he's funding this fact, which he is. He can have his scientists, and again, you could pay scientists to do anything. If scientists need to work too, they're susceptible to being bribed. So you could pay scientists to do anything. So he could have the scientists put whatever the fuck he wants in there. I have no idea what he's going to put in there. He could put nanochips to track people. He could put some mass sterilization tool. He could put another virus in there. He could put outright poison in there, or put poison in maybe 80% of the things, so 20% of the people live. Again, I have no idea what the fuck he's going to put in there. That's the difference between being skeptical and a conspiracy theorist. A conspiracy theorist isn't someone that refuses to believe the bullshit fed to him by the mainstream media. A conspiracy theorist is someone that makes up their own bullshit out of very little to no evidence. For example, me being skeptical and not taking the vaccine simply because he's, wanting a pathway into everyone's body, which he is. That's being skeptical, not a conspiracy theorist. A conspiracy theorist would say they don't want the vaccine because he's putting nanochips in, as if they know he's putting nanochips in. I don't know. I ain't saying I know what he's putting in that vaccine, but I have no idea what the fuck he's putting in that vaccine. Therefore, I'm not getting it. All right, but a conspiracy theorist would know automatically even though they really don't. And that's what makes them a conspiracy theorist, because they're making up their own bullshit. So they can say, oh, he's poisoning people. Maybe he's not. Maybe he just wants to sterilize people. Or maybe conspiracy theorists would say he's sterilizing people. Maybe he's not. Maybe it's just some poison that makes it another pandemic, and a virus that creates another pandemic. You don't know. Therefore, you cannot speculate. The moment you start speculating and say this is what's in there with no proof, that's when you become a conspiracy theorist. But I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm being skeptical. Also, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I do believe that the vaccinations have been proven to work. First off, or if anything, at the very least, vaccinations have been proven not to cause mass sterilization and not to cause mass death. You know why? Because people have been taking some of these vaccines. Hundreds of millions of people have been taking these vaccines for decades, and it hasn't caused mass sterilization, mass death yet. That's all the empirical evidence, which, by the way, empirical evidence is part of the scientific method, that you need to prove that vaccines aren't dangerous. But however, there is 10 to 15% of the population with weak immune systems that can't take it because they can't take any vaccine. So we have to have what they call herd immunity to protect these people from getting sick from otherwise non-vaccinated people. Okay, so what if one of those people who cannot take the virus due to their compromised immune systems gets their compromised immune systems initially overlooked, which could easily happen, and they get vaccinated anyway. Boom, they die. Mother's like, oh my God, my kid got killed by a vaccine. I'm going to go join the anti-vax movement. I think that's what happened. I think it was that simple. I think part of the populated people, some kids, were not supposed to be vaccinated because their compromised immune systems had their compromised immune systems overlooked and were vaccinated anyway. It was real simple. Maybe they, didn't have signs of a compromised immune system. Again, you have to have proof of a compromised immune system before they rule you not able to be vaccinated. So it's not out of the question to assume that some doctors just overlook their compromised immune system, vaccinate anyway, and it made their sick kids sick and die. Oh, I mean, I've been vaccinated. I'm not going to be one of those people to tell you not to get vaccinated unless for no reason ever, because that'd be hypocritical of me. I do think, however, the vaccinating schedule has become dense, which means they've added a lot more vaccines to shit I never even heard of, and giving kids get to babies in a short period of time. I do think that is dense, so maybe, if anything, that doesn't mean no, don't get vaccinated either. It means maybe, spread out the vaccines, have the vaccine, make more trips to the doctor, instead of having a shot that gives you 80 vaccines at once, just, go there, take a shot for one or two, and then make an appointment next month for another one or two, and go from there. I mean, you have 4 or 5 years before your kid goes to kindergarten, so... I mean, but that's not a reason not to get vaccinated ever. Again, these vaccines have been proven not to cause mass sterilization or mass death. Therefore, there's no reason therefore, I'm not an anti-vaccination person. But what is in this vaccine that Bill Gates wants everyone in the whole world to take? I don't know. I don't know what it's going to do. And you know what? The fact that he's rolling out all possible treatments, all possible cures, and saying everyone in the world must get vaccination is outright alarming. This is why I am not taking it. The other vaccinations have been proven to be, not to kill people or cause mass sterilization, whereas this vaccination isn't even developed yet, supposedly. It hasn't proven shit. This vaccination has not proven shit. So it's not a question about being anti-vaccination or not. It's a question about whether or not you want to take this vaccination. And I'm saying hell fucking no. Because the fact is this man and the mainstream media is vilifying all possible treatments, outright smearing, sending feds into a doctor's office who treats it with some unapproved way, which, by the way, is working, in favor of a mass vaccine that we have no idea what the fuck's in it. He could put anything in it. Therefore, I'm not taking it, simply because the world's being held hostage for it. I don't trust it. Sorry, not happening. You're not putting that vaccine in my body. End of story. So, in the short term, the world is being held hostage for this vaccine. Things will not, and people who are people in the country, I live in a more rural area, and there's a lot of traffic on the road I live on, usually. And there still is a lot of traffic on the road I live on. It's like people in this rural area, still continue about their lives. They're not affected by this lockdown. Oh, well, they can't go out to eat or go to the movie. Not that big of a deal. They can still go outside in their yard and play, do yard work, like I do. I go outside every day. But people who live in cities, like canned sardines in their $4,000 a month, 700 square foot apartments, are locked up like sardines, like canned sardines. And plus, the lockdown's being more forcibly enforced there, which means that you can't go out without unless you're going to the grocery store. So these people are being locked down, so they're going to submit to anything by the time to get this lockdown over, because they're more cramped up people in the rural area. Where the people in the rural area are going to be like, "Fuck you, I ain't getting this vaccine." So I can see about 10 to 20% of the people passively resisting it, and about 5 to 10 actively resisting it, like me, because I'm not getting it. But the fact, I put the link in the description. Bill Gates automatically, right off the bat, says things aren't getting back to normal unless we either have a cure or a vaccine. It's unlikely we're going to find a cure. Again, I explained why we don't need a one-size-fits-all cure. So we are left with a vaccine automatically. And the scary part is he admits he wants to vaccinate everyone in the world. This literally gives him a pathway into everyone's body on the planet. That is dangerous. Therefore, I'm not getting this fucking vaccine. If you want to vaccinate me, you're going to have to put that fucking coronavirus vaccine into my cold dead fucking body. Fuck you, Bill Gates, you mindless motherfucking cockweasel.